This upcoming full moon in Cancer is going to be the most emotionally explosive full moon of 2025. In this video, I'm going to explain to you why that is and how it is that you can navigate this energy in order to get the most out of it. Because there's a really beautiful and powerful opportunity here to reparent the self and to release on a cellular level a lot of this emotional pain, emotional trauma, and this emotional reactivity, and come to a place of reconditioning our emotional response system and our emotional intelligence so that it is more aligned with our higher self. And so our emotions are working as a beautiful guidepost for us moving forward. This full moon is occurring on or around January 13th, 2025, depending on where in the world it is that you are located. And it is happening at 24 degrees of Cancer, roughly, as it is 23 degrees and 59 minutes or something like that. So very, very close to the 24. So we're rounding it up to that 24 degree point. Now, with the moon at 24 degrees of Cancer, we're going to be having the sun at 24 degrees of Capricorn opposing this energy. One of the things that makes this full moon so dynamic is the fact that the moon is loosely conjunct Mars retrograde in Cancer, Mars being at 27 degrees of Cancer during this full moon. And anybody who has not caught the Mars retrograde video, I'll link it at the end of this one. I highly suggest that you watch it if you have not yet, because this Mars retrograde is so incredibly powerful and potent. And this is a big trigger point along these energies. But Mars is going to continue his retrograde until the 23rd of February and won't return to where he started in Leo until the 1st of May. So a long time that we're working with these energies. And this is a real breaking point within that cycle, or a real action point, I guess you could say. Not only do we have Mars there conjunct the moon opposing the sun in Capricorn and loosely Pallas Athena in Capricorn as well, but we have both the sun and the moon and Mars being squared by Chiron in Aries. And this is a really, really intense aspect. This is what we call a T-square, when we have two opposing planets or sets of planets, both squaring a third planet. Now, this puts a lot of focus, a lot of energy on Chiron. Chiron being known as the wounded healer. This is the asteroid or dwarf planet that represents our deepest core wounds, those primal wounds within us, especially primal when we're working in the sign of Aries. And the healing journey that occurs as we attempt to heal what is ultimately an unhealable wound, but what takes us on a grand journey through a process of healing and learning and growth, and crystallizes a great amount of wisdom within us that we are then able to share to other people. So it's kind of like the wound that we can never quite heal, but that we can help the world to heal through our process and our attempts. So this is a big, big, grandiose energy. And it's really interesting that we have Chiron in the sign of Aries, squaring off against Mars, which is the ruler of Aries. Although, as we said, right now, Mars is in the sign of Cancer and retrograde. So Mars in the sign of Cancer is pretty uncomfortable. Mars does not enjoy being in Cancer. Mars is a go-getter. Mars is that aggressive energy. It is that primal sort of flow of our masculine energy that wants to get things done, that wants to act first and ask questions later, that really wants to move and groove and accomplish. Cancer energy wants to hold back. It wants to feel things out. It wants to check in with its emotions, with its intuition before making any big decisions. And it really slows Mars down. Also, because Cancer is so deeply emotional, Mars in Cancer becomes very emotional as well. And this can be very challenging for Mars, because Mars is not, once again, emotion is just something that slows us down. It's just something that hampers us, right? We're going for something that we want, but we maybe don't feel right about it, or we're worried too much about what other people think, how other people are going to feel. Mars doesn't have time for all of this. But in Cancer, Mars has to make time. So Mars is already feeling fired up, feeling unsettled, feeling very passionate, very emotional, and very protective as well in the sign of Cancer. This is the mama bear energy, right? enter the retrograde motion, which further slows Mars down, where Mars is being asked to stop, to think, to feel even more deeply, to reevaluate. And we can see what a debacle this is. So this emotionally charged Mars, this frustrated Mars, so to speak, is squaring off against Chiron, these deep wounds in the sign of Aries, in Mars's sign. So there's a lot of fireworks here. There's a lot of explosive energy. We're going to be triggered. We're going to see other people being triggered. We want to be aware of this. We want to try not to be too emotionally reactive and instead be emotionally responsive. Take in the situation, feel into it. What is this showing me? What wound is coming up within me? And how can I allow myself to feel that wound in a constructive way that is not infringing upon other people, but is allowing that cathartic process? Because what this full moon wants to do for us is really repattern our emotional response system. It wants to clear our trauma, resentment, this pain and frustration on a cellular level. It wants to essentially, Eckhart Tolle talks about the pain body, which is this field of energy where these painful experiences and traumas get trapped in our energetic field. And every time we experience something that similar, that reminds us of that on a subconscious level, that what he calls the pain body, those emotional traumas within the energy system get reactivated. And we go right back into that trauma response. It's like we're right there again, like we're experiencing the same thing. Our body, our heart rate, everything switches back into that mode of being, and we respond and react from that mode of being. So this pain body is very real, and it is a very, very challenging experience to navigate, right? It's very hard when that pain body gets activated. Like I said, it's like we switch into a whole different mode of being. It's like we travel through time and we're re-experiencing a trauma again. So the fact that we're having an opportunity to begin clearing the pain body on a cellular level is massive. But yes, this is going to probably feel intense. So if you can, get some alone time during and around this full moon. We're going to be feeling these energies. We're probably already feeling them. 111. I believe that's when I'm recording this. It's either 110 or 111 right now. 111. We're going to be really beginning to feel this energy, and we're going to be feeling it right through the other side, the 15th, 16th, 17th. All right, so we're going to have some time to work with this energy. It may not happen exactly the day of. Remember, time and energy are fluid. It flows in and it flows out. But we are going to be within this process. So allow yourself to experience it fully. If you need to scream, if you need to rage, if you need to break things, if you need to cry, let yourself do that in a safe container, of course. It will be so incredibly cathartic. That energy of you have to feel it to heal it is especially relevant as we are moving through this particular full moon. We have some other really interesting aspects and energies going on here. We have what's known as a cradle aspect going on. And this is where both Uranus in Taurus and Neptune in Pisces, who is still loosely conjunct that north node, are connecting to the sun and the moon and Mars through a series of trines and sextiles. These are very supportive aspects. And with Uranus and Neptune here, this is a very beautiful cosmic influence, like this beautiful cosmic elixir. And it is helping to streamline this process in the sense of, yes, it's going to feel intense. It's meant to, it has to, if we're going to be clearing that energy out. But it gives us a little bit of room to breathe. This is what assists, particularly when we're working with Uranus and Neptune. This is what assists in this clearing that goes throughout timelines, right? Throughout dimensions of ourselves, this cellular level cleansing. This is part of what's supporting that process, is this connection with Uranus and Neptune here. Neptune representing the higher self, the spirit, and Uranus representing those higher timelines, a very galactic, intergalactic type of an energy. Uranus attached to the Akashic records, attached to really like when we talk about the pain body, Uranus links into the cosmic pain body because it is like the cosmic record keeper. So this is what's allowing for this transference and this alchemy of energy to take place here. So that is a really beautiful aspect. And where we have that North Node energy here, the North Node having just shifted into Pisces on 1/11, there's this beautiful energy with the North Node just really opening things up for us, supporting that Neptune in Pisces by adding its energy. They're not quite conjunct yet. They're going to be conjunct on the 7th of February. And we talked a bit about that date in the live stream that we just did. I recommend everybody check that out too if you didn't, where we're talking about the North Node entering Pisces and some of these themes of 2025 with Aries and Pisces that we're going to be working through and navigating. Pisces and Aries, very big energies in 2025. And you can see even with this full moon right now, right? We're talking about these energies. We're talking about that Aries, that Mars energy. Even with Cancer, we've got Mars there, and then we've got that Chiron in Aries. So that Aries energy coming to play here. And then, of course, that Pisces energy. So we're already feeling the effects of the North Node here in this conversation. And I believe the North Node is still going to be at 29 degrees of Pisces. It's creating this opening, this conversation with Neptune that's connecting us with our higher selves, that's aligning us with our higher vision. And this higher self connection is facilitating in this releasing process. Neptune is known as the great dissolver. Neptune is coming in to assist us in dissolving this energy through the matrix, our cellular matrix even. And then Uranus is coming in and helping to rearrange it. Uranus is also showing us and helping us, along with Mars and Cancer, to get really clear about what it is that we want, but without some of that extra emotionality of the Cancer energy. Although Cancer energy, when it moves out of the pure raw emotionality, it moves through that and uses that almost as a portal to break through into this pure intuition and connection. That's kind of the process that we're moving through here. It's like birthing through the pain into this beautiful cosmic connection with our higher selves and with a brand new version of ourselves that's ready to be released into the world. But we can see this cradle aspect with Uranus and Neptune here as kind of like holding us within that cosmic womb before our birthing process fully begins. Now, an interesting thing to note about Chiron and this T-square here before we fully move on from this energy is the fact that Chiron is in a loose conjunction with the dwarf planet Eris right now. Eris is a planet that some consider to be the higher octave of Black Moon Lilith. She has a Mars-like energy to her as well, interestingly enough. I used to call her on here the feminine warrior planet. So Eris deals with these themes within the feminine energy of resentment, frustration, guilt, or not guilt so much, but envy and jealousy and rage, where it is that we feel as though we have been looked down upon, we have been cast aside, we have been left out, and we want to seek justice for that. So with this energy attached to Chiron here, at this focal point of this T-square, those emotions are going to be highlighted as well. This is anywhere where you feel like people have left you out, where you are jealous of something that somebody has, you want what they've got, you perhaps want, like there's a shadow element of your own feminine energy coming out that wants to see them fail, that wants to see them suffer, that wants to see that karmic justice being served. So there are some ugly aspects of this, and it's okay though. Allow that to come to the surface. There is this powerful energy here, this great importance in flushing out these lower vibratory emotions in the sense of like these emotions and feelings within us that we've been ashamed of. So the shadow emotions here, the aspects of ourselves and our journey that we haven't wanted to admit we experience. And because we haven't been willing to admit that they exist within us, we haven't been willing to release them. And they're essentially spirit showing me it's like this thick, toxic glue within our energy system. I just did a little mini reading for this for the Minis channel and TikTok. And when I was talking about the energy in that, Spirit was giving me different analogies of different taboo aspects of the range of emotional experience and showing us and explaining to us how we can feel multiple things at once. And usually we do. Usually we don't just feel one type of way about one experience. We are multifaceted. Creation is multifaceted. Every experience that we have is multifaceted. And one really uncomfortable scenario that I was called to kind of flesh out to help explain this energy and how it might work for people has to do with those Cancerian mothering energies, and it has to do with the energy of parenthood. And so some of those emotions that parents are conditioned to express and that are accepted by society are, I love my child. I'm so grateful to be a parent. Oh, isn't this so wonderful? All of that beautiful gooey, ooey gooey kind of energy. But there's another side that a lot of people don't talk about. It's where you can love your child so completely, but at the same time, in certain moments, wish that they just did not exist. Wish that you were not a parent. Wish that that was not your experience, because it can be so hard, right? And you can have that extreme energy of like frustration and overwhelm and despair and grief for the life that you used to have, the person you used to be, right? And also have that incredible joy and bliss and euphoria of being a parent, right? Those can coexist. Another example that Spirit gave me to explain this to people had to do with more of the Capricornian energies. So that was sort of the Cancer energy. The Capricornian energies would be those energies of ambition, of jobs, of different things like that. Like, say you start a new job. You can be excited, you can be terrified, you can be disappointed and sad about what you're leaving behind, all at the same time. And it's okay to feel all of those things, right? So what Spirit's saying is, let yourself feel it all, and whatever you have not allowed yourself to feel about a certain area of your life experience, that may come up for you during this full moon. And the goal is to feel it so that you can heal it. Like I said, get yourself that space where you can move through these emotions and just really flush them out until there's nothing left. I'm literally seeing somebody, and I'm so sorry. I know nobody likes to, this is intense sometimes when we get into this. This is not really, nobody tunes into a video to hear about themselves crying on the bathroom floor. But that's like what I'm seeing from this energy. When you've had that deep cry, that ugly cry, where like if you're a woman and you wear makeup, right, your makeup streaming down your face is puffy, your eyes are red, you're just so spent and exhausted that you cannot move and you're just lying on the floor. That's what this energy, it's literally, I'm getting an image of somebody like curled up in the fetal position, naked on the bathroom floor. That's what this energy, that's when you've really worked this energy to its fullest, is when you feel like that, when that imagery aligns with you and your experience of this moon. That's when you've like squeezed all the juice out that this full moon has to offer. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to get that intense with it, but the opportunity is there. And as you do that, there is a cleansing, there is a clearing, like we said, at a cellular level that is occurring, where all of that is releasing, where there's like Spirit showing me this beautiful unfoldment of self-love and self-acceptance that is literally rewiring your being. This is so incredibly powerful, you all. I don't think I can translate properly with words how powerful this is. The level of self-love and self-acceptance and acceptance for your circumstance, acceptance for your world that you can experience once you let all of this emotion out, all of this trapped anger, resentment, frustration, emotion. There's a cleanness to it. We have Venus loosely conjunct Saturn, both in Pisces as well, during this full moon. And Venus and Saturn are going to be dancing around each other throughout January, really all the way through until April, when they're going to come into conjunction. And we're going to talk more about that in later videos. Venus is going to have a retrograde. She's going to move forward into Aries. She's going to retrograde back into Pisces. And there's going to be this beautiful meeting, this beautiful connection of these planets before Saturn moves into Aries itself. And that's a whole journey. There's a beautiful self-love journey that's unfolding here with Saturn and Venus. And there is this exposing of those wounds, of those insecurities as well, where these two planets are concerned. But I do feel them assisting, particularly, remember, they're in the sign of Pisces. Pisces is unconditional love, acceptance. All right, so there's this beautiful healing and cathartic energy that I feel Venus and Saturn lending to this process as well, within that communion with each other, and really allowing us, in a sense, to heal. As we're healing this within ourselves, we're healing this on a collective level. Remember, Pisces is a collective oneness energy. There's like a beautiful, it's like osmosis for some reason is a word that's coming through here. But it's really, I just see our whole energy system being cleared out. As we're moving through these energies, it's like rainbow light moving through our energy system. It's so beautiful what I'm seeing and feeling right now. It's like this deeper level of self-acceptance that's rooted in truth, that's rooted in allowing ourselves to get real and raw and vulnerable, and loving ourselves anyway. Loving ourselves through that process, or at least on the other side of it. Something that's really cool about this energy as well is the fact that Pluto in Aquarius is still in a loose out of sign opposition to Mars. So that transformative alchemizing energy of Pluto is at play during this full moon as well. Not strongly, but all we need, Pluto is the planet of power, right? Intensity. All we need is a little drop of Plutonic energy to really add to this elixir and create some powerful and profound change. And like we said, this full moon ultimately is rewiring our emotional response nature. It's also assisting us in learning how to act from a place of that logical, earthy, grounded Capricornian energy, but also employing our intuition, employing our emotion. It's like learning how to balance that and learning how to approach situations, challenges, tasks from a more emotionally stabilized place where we're being informed emotionally about our decisions, but we're not relying completely on emotion or completely on logic in order to move forward. We're able to synergize these energies. We're able to call upon both of these energies within us. This is also when we're working with the Cancer Capricorn axis, it's always an axis of reparenting. So this is where we are reparenting the self, where we are working with the mother energies, the father energies, our relationship to these energies within ourselves and with the outer archetypes. So we could be having energies coming up around that as well, clearing and purging around the inner child, around family dynamics, either our childhood family growing up, our ancestry, or our current family. Just a lot of different energies that coming within all of these themes when it comes to also that 4th house, 10th house dynamic. This is the home, the family versus the career, the ambition, the worldly presence and goals. How we balance that, how we feel either hindered or supported in that process of showing up, wherever it is that we're being called to show up, and also getting an honest look at where it is that perhaps that is out of balance. Where are we being needed more? Where are we being called to show up more? So there's this tug of war between where we're being called to show up, who needs us to show up, who we have responsibility towards and for, and how it is that we also show up for ourselves and are able to show up for ourselves. So this is the dynamic that's going to be fleshed out that we're going to be working with during this full moon as well. We have one more beautiful and supportive aspect that I want to give a little shout out to before we close this video. And this is a grand earth trine that we have going on between the South Node in Virgo, Uranus in Taurus, and the Sun in Capricorn. This is this beautiful synergy of energy here that is really assisting us in grounding everything that we're experiencing into a practical approach, taking all of this cleansing, all of this cathartic energy, all of these revelations, and really coalescing it into something that we can feel, something that we can touch, something that we can taste, something that we can use. That South Node Virgo energy is assisting us in releasing that perfectionism, in releasing that self-critic energy. Wherever it is that self-critic, that's probably going to be a big theme of this moon. Really recognizing that inner critic, maybe where that inner critic comes from, giving some love to that inner critic. This is a big moon where Spirit's showing me, it's really showcasing to us the healing power of love. When we approach all of this from a place of love, from a place of heart, from a place of healing and nurturing for ourselves and others, as opposed to like when we're going through our own journey of self-healing and self-awareness, we talk about battling our demons, right? Slaying our dragons, all of this intense, warm-like metaphors, right? But it's like, what if we love our demons? What if we love them into complacency almost? What if we love them so fiercely that they shift and transform before our eyes, that we shift and transform to an energy where we're no longer compatible with them anymore, where they naturally just kind of fade away, right? How can we really approach our healing journey, not as I'm broken, let's fix me, or you're broken, let's fix you. And I am beautiful and perfect, even in my pain, even in my trauma. Let me continue to love myself through this process, to accept my flaws, to accept my weaknesses. And through that process of acceptance, remember we talked about acceptance? Acceptance is the energy of alchemy. Until we can't accept something, when we fight against something, when we resist something, that's that goo that I was talking about in the energetic system, that tar-like substance of our resistance, we cement it in. That acceptance makes that energy malleable, and then we're able to alchemize it. So having that beautiful, loving acceptance of ourselves that then begins to shift these energies to, in the most loving and gentle way possible, exercise these demons through lifting them up into a higher vibration, elevating that vibration, elevating that energy, elevating our experience with all sides of ourselves, so we're no longer at battle with any aspect of who we are. And we realize that all of the little battles that we've fought throughout our lives, the little ones, the big ones, that's not who we are either, right? We surrender some of that noise, right? Some of those stories, some of that attachment to this pain. That's like, for some people, it's that final point of energy during this full moon where they realize, I don't have to attach myself to that pain. I don't have to identify myself with that pain anymore. I can let that go. That doesn't have to be me. That doesn't have to be my story. It's almost like some of us, it's like we feel because it hurts so much, we have to hold on to it because we need like that scar to prove how strong we are, to prove that that pain was worth something. But it's not the scar that proves that. It's the wisdom and the ability to show up in the world stronger, wiser, more loving, fiercer. That is like the true fruits and blessings of these painful circumstances. All right, so it's so much that we're being washed clean, quite literally, if we allow it during this full moon. And so that South Node connecting with Uranus, who's shaking things, changing things up, showing us new ways, showing us new possibilities, opening us up to new avenues. And then the Sun in Capricorn, which is taking all of that and being like, all right, let's do something with this. Let's continue to grow and evolve in this direction with this energy, right? Let's create some sort of structure to bring forth this wisdom into the world and figure out how am I going to live this? You know, one thing that it reminds me of is when I was in 12-step recovery, they would talk about the 12 steps and how you live the steps. It's not something, you don't just work them, you live them. And that's the energy of Capricorn. All right, how do I live this? How do I live this transformation that's occurred? How do I live this epiphany? How do I live this spiritual upgrade? What do I do with this energy? And when we are able to live that and live differently as a result of everything that we've been through and everything that we've healed through, that is the ultimate triumph. And that's what it's all about. All right, I love you all so much. I honor you. I respect you. If you enjoyed this video and you are still watching, you belong here. So go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe. Welcome to the tribe. If you would like a personal astrology reading, tarot reading, energy healing, past life regression, entity removal, any of the things that I do, all of the information for that is in the description box below. I do one-on-one coaching as well. It is my honor and my privilege to serve you in any way that I can, including making these videos for you. It is my absolute passion. Thank you for sharing this time with me. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being who you are, for having the courage to shed I almost said shed your light, to shed your skin, being that this is the year of the snake, right? Starting on the 29th, to shed your skin and shine your light. This world needs you. All right, never forget that. I'll talk to you soon.